Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it brought up a bunch of things I want to say,
Yeah.
but no. Let me please ask you my most important question.
Okay.
Let me please present this to you. If another company wanted to become as fast at innovating
Mm-hmm.
in a meaningful and good way,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be as good in all the dimensions, as fun to work, as productive, making things people really love, whether they're a new company or an existing company, what tips, advice, or must-haves or must-don'ts would you say?
Yeah. I think there's many, right? But I always think of it from a person's perspective, like a people's perspective, a humanity perspective, right? And I heard you talk about this before, and it resonated with me a lot as well. But like the flatness of the company is, I think, one of the most important things about it, because you don't feel like you're playing politics. You feel like you're just getting stuff done. I almost cursed there. I was so close. I almost did too, because it's my channel. I could curse in my own channel, but we'll see. We'll keep it PG for this one. Um, that to me feels incredibly important. Call it flat structure, call it a lack of trying to be super hierarchical, call it whatever you want. Just empower people. Empower the people, and then invest a tremendous amount of time and energy getting the best possible people to join your company. But that becomes extremely difficult to do if your mission for that company is not honest, or it's just driven by, well, we're just here to make money, right? We're just here to do this or that. I think that's a barrier for a lot of companies from a people's perspective. It's I'm not sure if I would ever want to join. Like, I don't know how much talent would theoretically go to a place where it's just about money, and it almost gets like, you could have a lot of different companies that have that, and you could have like 1% of the population goes to this company, 0.5% goes to this one. But I feel like something that Tesla does incredibly well, again, is that it's never about the money. It's about the mission. It's about the mission. And then we're going to spend as much time humanly possible to hire the best and the brightest and empower them and trust them to get after it. That's what I perceive. I'm curious to hear yours. Like, what do you think it is?
Man, you hit on many topics that are so passionate to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think another one is, oh wow, how to say this the right way. A lot of companies, if you see a really handsome or really beautiful person, they're in or on their way to some leadership track. Mm. I never experienced that in Tesla, ever. Sometimes I saw someone who was inordinately big, tall, presence, handsome, or beautiful. They were on the line, period. Right? There was no, oh, you're the special cast. So we want you doing the special work. I never experienced that. I think that's super important. I went to so-and-so school, so I should be in X position. I never experienced that. I worked with a lot of people that went to awesome schools and a lot of people that didn't, and they were working together on the same teams. And this brings me to the inverse of that point that I think is super important. I remember one of the most skillful, productive, best mentor people I worked with. They were in their 70s. They were an ex-convict. They were ugly. I don't think anyone would have, on the surface, considered them the best and the brightest and the lucky hire. They were amazing. Mm-hmm. And I ran into situations similar to that more often than not. Tesla is a place, in my experience, where everyone gets a chance, and who you were 10 minutes ago has nothing to do with what you're asked and supported to do now. And you can reinvent yourself all the time and forever. And it's not like, well, that's Judy and Judy always XYZ. I never experienced that. Whereas a lot of other companies I did. And I do think anyone could get a job somewhere in Tesla. And the cool thing is once you're hired and once you're in, you can do anything.
It's so true.
So no matter what the job description was, like go for the absolute baddest sounding role and get it. And then you can do anything, right? If you want to.
That is so true. Yeah, it's the humanity. It's the humanity of that company. I don't think folks truly understand, and like I think that sort of highlights it, right? It's because, it's almost like, and I wanted to ask about this too because you brought it up, but like I wonder how much of that thing that you described that Tesla doesn't do, like the whole, you look good, you look like a manager, you look like you should have a better thing, so let's get you there. I wonder how much of that is human nature, and how much of that is that learned improper practices. You know what I'm saying? Like how much is that is our businesses just, since I don't know, I'm 34, I barely know anything. I don't know history that well, to be completely honest. But like, I'm curious, like, is it like how much of that hasn't been learned because of very naive, incorrect reasons, and how much of it is just human beings? It's just how we work, and then the beauty behind Elon and what that company has done is that it's merit. It's just, are you good at what you do? And are you going to be good in this situation to be able to fix this thing? And the way that they empower you to get after it is completely and absolutely nuts. And it's so funny you bring that up because I was fortunate enough to be in a role where I was able to hire a bunch of people, not just for my team, but for across every single really, material handlers. I helped hire engineers. I helped hire programmers, right? I mean, because, I was connected to the folks and they trusted me to help them, conduct interviews and things like that. And that was a common thread across every single person that I ever interviewed or ever saw someone else interview, was that it was always merit. It wasn't always, well, this person looks good, so let's get them on. It was always merit-based. What can they bring to the table? And then, like you said, once they come on board, it's okay. Let's throw you into a place where you can figure out how to get this thing solved, right? I just wanted to reinforce that point because it's so important and it's so true, and it's almost like, again, from a humanitarian perspective, it just feels like such a human company. Like even those that are very atypical or are not, part of the a class of people that might be perceived a certain way, Tesla's like, screw that. You're here for a reason. Let's get there together, and it feels very human and beautiful. And again, I sound like a fanboy, but I can't help but feel that way. I can't help but feel that way.
What do you think makes that persist? It's not like Elon's walking around and tapping people on the head and say, remember, it's about merit.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's emails that are sent to all hands that use words in a useful way to try to create a common thread of thinking.
Yeah.
But what else? Some politicking in one of your earlier videos, you said does emerge. And I love how you defined politicking as something that sub-optimizes from the mission and optimizes for one person's or some subgroup's gain and not the mission. I thought that was really elegant.
Appreciate that.
And it does emerge, but then it's usually quashed.
Yes.
How? Why? What makes it persist?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. The way I think about it is, I think everyone who works at Tesla really respects the hell out of Elon. They just really, really respect him, and he doesn't need to be there for the folks that are there to be like, "Would Elon? Is this what the handbook says I should do? Is this something that Elon would want us to do?" Right? That's a constant question, and it's almost like. It's that first principles thinking that gets sort of embedded into everyone's head. It's like, okay, so think of it from a first principles standpoint. Like, would you do that? Like, would you really? Is that an optimal way of solving the problem? I think that's one piece. I think people just really respect Elon and what he stands for and what he gets after. I think the other one is it's the talent. It's like when you have that leader, you're able to surround yourself with all the people in the company that are going to be just extremely talented at driving that mission forward. And because of what we just talked about, like they're all based on most, if not all, are based on merit. There's never any games around who should or shouldn't be there based on their appearance or whatever. Those people are generally going to make the right decisions very, very, very often. And so I think from that, and then they have 100,000 people now, right, working at the company. So a significant percentage of them, at least call it 85 to 90%, maybe even higher, are going to operate in that way. So imagine how many good decisions are being made on every freaking minute, without Elon having to be there. And we just saw I don't know if you saw the quarterly report that just came out. They delivered 308,000 cars, blowing everyone's expectation, even those that were the most like aggressive bulls out there on the market, even in our community, in the Tesla community. And Elon sent a tweet a few weeks ago saying, we're not going to go that hard in Q4. We're going to do it right. And then it ends up blowing everyone's expectations. It's because of the people. He has surrounded that entire company with incredibly talented people that are always going to make the right decision for the company and the mission. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I don't know if that lines up with what you saw, but like that's how I think about it.
I really think the lack of a ladder to climb takes away that game that a lot of people want to play at work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's simply, here is the work to do, and there's rapid feedback on, did you make the situation better or worse?
Right. It's so true.
And so that becomes your game, because there's no other game. It's not like you're sitting in an office and in meetings thinking who likes who and who went golfing with who, which, I mean, a lot of the time that is the game.
Yep.
And in Tesla, no one's going golfing.
Yeah. There's no time for
golf.
No one has time. Maybe on the computer when you're home, like PGA Tour or something.
You went home?
Oh, yeah, of course. Just sleep for a little bit. Yeah.
So it's not like you've got your annual goals to hit.
Right.
It's simply, did the processes you touch have superior outcome after you touch them or less? And you know that before anyone else does.
Yep.
So it's not like some manager comes up and hits someone and says, you made it worse. Like, you see that before anyone else. So you're already working on the fix, because where else are you going to go? Right.
Absolutely.
You've got to be there to improve it again.
It's so true. It's so true.
I mean, if you just walked away, that would be a reason to get fired. You know, if you made it worse and just walked away, you could lose your job for that one.
Yeah. So you would get your ass kicked so fast if that were to happen. Yeah.
I mean, your team would try to help you. Are you okay? What's wrong?
Right.
I mean, if you were just cold about it, like, I had enough of this, like you would be gone.
Yeah. So quick.